should never judge a fish by its ability to climb a tree, else it will go through its entire life feeling really stupid. Well, in this video, I have with me a very, very special guest indeed, Adele, Chung, who is a strength enthusiast, a founder of Strength Compass, and her mission in life is simply to transform the lives of those around her by bringing out the best in them based on their strengths and recognizing their potential. So Adele, welcome to our show.
Thank you, Jacky, for inviting me on your video blog.
Yes, so Adele, would you like to first share with us what is this strengths all about?
Sure. So here we are talking about strength that's not physical strength, but strength that you build around your talent over time to become strength, which is an ability where you instantaneously do what you are good at because it feels natural to you, right? So it's about finding that sweet spot that charges you, that energizes you because you derive so much satisfaction from using your strength. Have you ever noticed that, sometimes you just work non-stop because you love what you do?
Absolutely. I think that's what the psychology, some of them would term as the flow. Is it true?
Yeah. Well, it's the flow, but it's also the ability to feed on your nurtured strength because that keeps you energized. And when you feed on your nurtured strength, you're actually working towards the goal because you're focused on using your strength to achieve your goal.
I see.
Yeah.
So why strengths? If for those of them who are new to this, why strengths with there are so many other profiling tools out there?
There are definitely a lot of profiling tools. Gallup Strength Finder is actually one of them. But more importantly, it's not about using one tool to help you discover. More importantly, is using this tool to have that self-awareness. So having that strength, self-awareness, does three things to you. One, you become more self-aware of your strength. You are able to embrace who you are at the core. Two, you know where are your gaps so that you work smart by finding people to complement what you're not good at. Thirdly, and most importantly, is having that self-awareness also allows you to understand that to realize that you don't have to be good at everything because you and I, Jacky, we are wired differently. So having to know that what you are good at is about owning that private victory for yourself.
I see. So it's more like what we say, being who you are rather than trying to be someone that you're not.
Spot on. Okay. Yes. So strength allows you to know who you are at your core because this is about embracing who you are truly am and being the real you, being the authentic you.
Yeah. Okay. Wonderful. So if someone wants to find out how they can actually tap into the strengths, how can they go about doing it?
Like I said, there are many ways. As a Gallup Strength Coach, I subscribe to the Gallup Strength Finder Assessment. So Gallup Strength Assessment looks at the 34 presence of strength. But when we do our strength coaching, we typically look at the 5 top domain strength because most on a daily basis, we will be using our top 5 strengths in the way that we think, we behave, we feel, we act.
Are there instances where people, like for instance, being a sales coach, and I work with many of my clients who are in sales, how could they tap into this Gallup strength to build on their ability to sell more, perhaps as an individual or even as a team? Is it possible?
Definitely. I mean, strength comes in many different way of development. So you can use your strength to develop selling, selling traits. You can also use strength in leadership. So maybe let me give you an example. I've recently done coaching for a sales team of 5 to 6 for a trading company, and there's an interesting mix of talent. There's one who is high on woo, one who is high on deliberative, the other who is high on strategic. So this may sound very technical to you, but I can break it down. Okay. So for someone who's high on woo, breaks the ice very easily. They are not shy in terms of connecting with strangers. They are not shy in picking up the phone to do cold calls. And this is where he uses his woo strength to actually look at prospecting, to actually look at assessing opportunities, to actually build relations with the customer, with his prospects. So it helps him to actually narrow the possibility of closing a deal. Whereas another salesperson B, he has a deliberative strength as his top 5. So many would assume that, oh, being someone who is a deliberator, you may not be able to sell, but that's not true. He actually uses his strength and know how to leverage on his deliberativeness because he takes a step back to assess the situation of what the client needs. The clients may be worried about the risk factor if he or she, the clients, were to buy their products. So when he knew that he has deliberative as his strength because he's so slow to warm up to a customer versus someone who's a woo, he used his strength to map out the risk factors, the possible various options for the clients, and present it to clients. Not only was the client impressed, the clients actually have him to actually help him map out his quarterly sales and inventory forecast. So in this way, he won the hearts of the clients through his deliberative strength, but not using his woo strength because, like you said earlier, you do not want to be someone else.
Yes.
So that is about intently using what you are good and who you are to make the best out of it.
So do these people tend to be introverts? They mentioned that.
Not necessarily.
Not necessarily.
Risk-averse people are not necessarily introverts.
Oh, okay.
Or are they not? And not necessarily extrovert at the same time. So it is about having a more intent mind and purpose behind what they want to achieve.
Okay.
So, for example, if a deliberator is looking at risk as the number one factor that will pull them away, then all the more they will look at ways to help reduce the risk level, not only for themselves but also for the clients, because they will want to ensure that it's a sure win for them by mapping out the possibilities. And talking about possibilities, the other sales guy who is high on strategic is a person who really lets his mind run wild because he thinks of various possibilities to close a deal. And before he even look at the current sales, he was actually planning out or mapping out what would be the future possibility, opportunities for him to cross-sell, to upsell, and even look at partnership because of his strategic thinking, of his strategic strength. So it actually helps him to build up his recurring sales pattern without having to work extra hard every quarter. So that is the strength of someone with very high strategic traits.
I see. Well, so it seems to me that it's, in a nutshell, strengths, it's all about finding out what our strengths are and being able to tap into them and finding a team that can work cohesively with you because 1 + 1 is more than 2.
Exactly. You're right on that. So because they are working in a sales team and if they work together as a team and when they do work together as a team, the one with a deliberative skill can tap on the woo skill to say, hey, can you help me to make that connection? Find out what he or she needs and I can do the numbers. I can do the proposal. I can put out the cost benefit risk factor. And at the same time, the guy with a strategy said, hey, with the cost benefit factor, maybe we can propose various opportunities for him to consider. So we are not looking at a single deal. We are actually looking at recurring deals. We are actually looking at possible future deals to come. So this is whereby sales organization actually benefit with a team synergy of different strengths because we're all looking at sustainability. And when you know how to play to your strength, you're able to use less effort to deliver twice the results.
So final question, Adele, is that if anyone who is keen to find out more about what you can offer and the difference that you can make in their lives, how could they actually find out more?
Sure, I'm happy to have a chat with anyone who's interested to uncover their talents or even tapping onto the unrealized potential. So you can find me on strengthcompass.org or scan or follow me on my QR code.
Alright, so there will be a QR code that will be left after this video right here. Once again, we just like to thank Adele for being with us in this show. And till we meet again, remember to live up to your strengths and enjoy authentic influence for breakthrough results. This is Jacky once again, signing off with Adele with me.
Thank you.